Hello and welcome to a new video on Escape from Tarkov. This one's a little different now. This one's jumping on the trend of all those tier lists. So I've made one for Escape from Tarkov weapons, and I think it could be useful for new players just to jump in and be able to visualize what most of the weapons are. Now this is going to be personal opinion, so it might not reflect how well you use a weapon, but it's going to go off three basic principles. How lethal the weapon is, you know what I mean? What calibers it fires, its fire rate, all of those things. How cheap the weapon is, and how easy it is to obtain. So for example, now the SVD I would put above the RSAS. Arguably they have similar capabilities, but the RSAS is far more expensive, and it's far more difficult to acquire an RSAS. So that's the type of thing I'm talking about. Do I have an RSAS here? I do. It's this one here. Yeah, some of the pictures have got really weird. They're all weirdly cropped, so I do apologise about that. Right, so let's start with the worst, and then what I would consider one of the best. So the worst I would consider is the MP133 shotgun. The reason being is it was a toss-up between the TOS and the MP133, and I think shotguns are in a subcategory of the worst guns in the game, simply because as soon as armor becomes prevalent in a wipe, shotguns just become far less effective up till you start running in class 5s. But the MP133 is pump action, and I feel it just handles worse than the M80. So we'll pop that one there. And then, like we were just discussing, the TOS, I've seen people do meme runs with the TOS and be really good with it. And there's far more customizable options for the TOS now than there is for the 133, I think. Now, one of the top weapons, I think, without a doubt, that you couldn't argue with is that the HK or the SR? I think that's a HK because it looks like it's got HK mags. I'm going to say that's the HK, and if I'm wrong, we're going to switch positions. The HK 416, something like that. Or 417. I'm not sure on the exact name. It's basically the beefy M4. This meta you can get to 37 recoil. It's not difficult to come by. There's plenty on the market, and money wise it really is a gun that's capable of being effective at budget, but you can just throw as much money on it as you want. And it's chambered in 5.56. With the M995 round, this absolutely shreds. With M995 though, if you hold the trigger for more than 5 seconds, you've probably spent the cost of the gun. Now we're just going to go along the lines and see what's what. So we have the M9 Beretta. As far as pistols go, I would say it's a solid C. I would say it's better than the MP133 simply because you can get much more mags. You can get much more ammo and the magazine. So I think you can get, it's a 17 rounders? That might be for the Glock with a big stick. I'm sure you can get at least like 8 or 10 rounds in it with AP 6.3 ammo, and you can actually, if you put one down a face shield at level 3, you can put down some geared players with the Beretta. Right, now, these two clocks, I can't tell you which is the 18C. Just isn't going to happen. But I think both of them are C tier really, because I think there needs to be a bit more variation in the tiers, but then I couldn't fit them all on the screen, so it's work in progress. But I definitely think most of the pistols do fall into this caliber, the C tiers. So that's the Grak, Makarov, Silence Makarov. Shrimp, I'm going to put that up 1 because it has armor piercing capabilities. And I'm going to put the, I can't remember what, the APB in that one. TT as well. Where's the FN57? Swear I got all the pictures. We haven't got the M1911. The FM57 doesn't look to be here, which is strange. I thought I'd got them all. The FM57 would be the same caliber as the Shrimp, I would say. Just it would be a bit better. And if you were to rank these pistols, obviously I would put the Glock at the 18C at the front, followed by the Beretta. Makarov would be last. I would argue the APB is better than the M9. Yep, that's the way I'd rank the pistols there. Right, now we get into an interesting, the interesting part of the rifle calibers. So, this is the AR-215, fires it's really a DMR really, because it's a single shot 5.56. I would definitely say that's a solid B tier weapon, and it outstrips the Shrimp. I'd rather have an ADAR than a Shrimp, but for price, for performance, I'd say that's solidly in the middle of the pack. Right, now this gets tricky to rank these base. So here you've got the AKMs, so you've got the AKM-SN, the AKM, the AKM-SL, which is like the foldable stock variant. I was planning on doing those guns, but I did intend, with the cropping on this tier maker, you physically cannot see what they are. I can just barely make out some of the dovetail adapters. So I'm just going to rank the AKMs as a whole sort of batch. Same with the AK-74s. Right, so I'm just going to class this as the AK-74. What if it's the 103? You know what? It's the AK-74. I would rank the AK-74 as a solid ATR weapon. It's fully automatic, it has calibers that can pierce armor, and with very little, if you put a PWS comp on the AK-74 with a rubber butt pad, you have a laser beam, and that's like a laser beam for less than, I would argue, you could probably make one for 50k. It's a great weapon. Right, now let's just pretend this one is the AK-103, which I would rank that slightly below the AK-74. The 103, I believe, is chambered in 7.62 by 39, and because of that, it has way more recoil, but also it doesn't have as large ammo variance. You can't really choose a budget option for BPs because they're about $1,000 each. And then we'll pretend this next one, well, I say pretend, we'll just say this next one is the 105, which is the 5.56 variant, which I would also put that in B tier. Reason being is, I mean, you don't see very many of them being run, but not just that. If you're going to use a 105, you'd be better off using an M4, you'd be better off using a HK, you'd be better off with a DMR, DTE MDR. It's one of those weapons where it's kind of like, it's overshadowed by every other gun in its caliber. Right, let's just consider that all done. The 103 would, the AKM would probably be the same with the 103. I'd put them tied together because they're pretty much the same gun. The AK-74U, I would have that solid B tier. I'd have it, honestly, I'd have that behind the, that's 74UB, because you can see the difference on the, yeah, I would argue that it's worse than the ADAR simply because, one, it's a little bit more expensive when you do the trade, and two, the point in its favour would be its fully automatic capabilities. However, with its massive recoil without recoil reduction attachments, it just becomes nigh unusable at range. So you'd be better off with an ADAR anyway. And if you were going to pimp out an AK-74U to use at range, you may as well use an AK-74N or an AK-74M. That's just my thoughts on that matter. Right, so disregard all these. I should have removed them, but, well, we are. Ash 12. I'm going to put that at the bottom of B tier. No, top of C tier. And the reason being is it's still usable, but it really is one of those weapons where it's just like the best of a bad situation. It is the best shotgun, but it's the worst. You know, shotguns are pretty much the worst calibers. I would even argue the worst at pistols, especially with the FN57. Right, now we've got the Mosin. Now I did intend to split the Mosins up based on infantry and normal, because the infantry can't use a scope, but I'm just going to class it as one Mosin. And I'm going to drop the Mosin price per performance top of B tier. I think the Mosin is like one of them great weapons where you can pick it up, you can immediately down anyone at range. It fits a certain playstyle, so if you've got a Mosin and you try and breach a building, it's going to be a difficult time for you. But I would consider it because of its price and its ability to put down level 6 armor with relative ease. I would consider it better than an AKM. If you turn around and said my Scav has a Mosin with a scope or an AKM with a reflex, I'd rather have the Mosin with a scope. That might just be my playstyle, but I think it's a fair place to put it. Right, next we've got the AS-Val. Now, AS-Val, I'm going to say solid A tier. Probably better than the AK-74M, based on the fact that A, they're widely available, they're not expensive to mod, the ammunition's reasonable for both penetration and cheapness. My issue with it is it does not have big enough mags. 30 round mag for the amount of, for how fast it fires, it's just, there's not enough like bullets in the gun. You know, I've seen people do fantastic things with the AS-Val and VSS. It's just one of those guns that has a very high skill cap. Alright, we have basically a machine pistol, the MP9. I would argue that's better. I would rather have, ooh, this is a tough one. Would I rather have an MP9 or an Ash 12? I think I'd rather have an Ash 12. I think it depends. Actually, I'd rather have an MP9. See, because an Ash 12's best, I think an Ash 12's best ammo, I think it pales in comparison to the MP9's AP 6.3s. So if I had to run them at the best, and I had to run one, it would be the MP9 I would choose. So the next one is the FAL, the FN FAL. I would say it really looks like a DMR, like the TX15 or the SR25, which I believe are these two. I think that's the SR25 and that's the TX15. Never mind. I would say the FAL is a solid S tier gun. My reason being is it fires a larger caliber round than the AS FAL. I would rate it behind the HK, but it can be modded out to have next to no recoil. Well, it has an initial kick, but then it does, you know, bottom out. But it does come with much more extended mags. I think you can get 50 round mags for the FAL quite easily. So I would definitely say that's an S tier weapon. I wouldn't say it's better than the HK though. Next is the DT MDR. I would rank that a little bit behind the FAL. My argument is, yes, the MDR, the 3-weight MDR, is arguably on paper better than the FAL in almost every way, but they're way more expensive than the FAL because the FAL spawns on scavs. So if you were to, you know, deck 2 of these out, the FAL would end up being cheaper because of its, you know, place on the marketplace. That would be my argument anyway. Then you've got the DT MDR. That I would put as a solid A tier, but I would put it above the 74M because it does have the ability to run the M995, which is a fantastic round. DVL Sniper, personally, I'm putting that here. I would rather have it in, like, if you said your scav, you know, go back to the original argument, if your scav spawned in with this weapon and you were like, okay, would I rather have an AK-74U or a DVL or an ADOT, that would be my ranking. The DVL, it's cheaper, but, you know, it's really only good. It's an inferior M700 in my opinion. That would be my argument. So MP5, I'm going to put that just behind the MP9. Because I believe the MP9 is similar to the MP5, but on paper, actually, I want to put the MP5 above, because I know the MP5 comes with 50 round mags. You can get them quite easily. And I think that would turn that into a stronger weapon than the MP9. Right, now we have the MP7. Ooh, that's going to be difficult. I'm going to put the MP7 just behind the AS-VAL and ATM. Now, a lot of people probably argue that it's an S tier weapon, and it's fantastic. My only argument is it's very difficult. If you look at all of these weapons can arguably be used at a decent range. The MP7 struggles. That would be my argument. The MP7 is king on factory, but if you take it on any other map, you've got to really get in close to make it as effective as possible. Right, we've got the PP9 Kill or Keta. Either one. It's going in pretty much the same place. I would have it above. There we go. I'd put it in C tier. I'd have it above every other pistol here. But yeah, that's how I would rank it. I would rank it above all of them because you put PSO rounds in that 19 Keta and you lose leg meta. Leg meta you can put down almost anyone. Right, the M1A. I'm going to argue that. Right, you got to bear with me now because I don't have two M1As down here. But I would argue the M1A base option is a solid B tier choice. I would rank it there above the Mosin because it's semi-automatic. It fires a smaller round but can have much bigger mag capacities. And I would rank the M1A with its fully decked out, the M1A SAS. That would definitely be hovering up between an S and an A tier. Probably the bottom of S tier. But my issue with putting it any higher is all of these weapons are fully automatic. The M1A is a fantastic weapon, absolutely, but it doesn't have the same versatility. You know, if you take that into a corridor, I would rather have any weapon above it than the M1A if I was engaging in a corridor fight. At range, I would probably have the M1A. That has the advantage, but you've got to look at the ability for it to kill in all situations. Right, M4, bottom of A tier. Doesn't feel right. See, because it's basically an inferior MDR, but the M4 has ridiculous base kick for its recoil. I don't know why, but it does. I want to leave it at A. I think A is a reasonable place at the bottom of A tier. I feel like that M1A should be higher. Alright, I'm going to move the M1A. I'm going to move the M1A to in front of the AK-74M. Because if you asked me, if I was going to spawn as a scav again, if you said AK-74N or M1A, I'd choose the M1A. Because chances are you're going to be spawning in with a round that can kill geared players. M700, going to drop that one behind the Mosin. Because they're both the same gun essentially. Now, you can get the M700 with a higher internal magazine. But they're both bolt actions and the M700's chambered in arguably an inferior round. Shotgun. Now I do believe this is the M80. The M80 would be above the MP133 but not by much. And the MP144 definitely put that in solid C tier. Probably above, I think there. That would be my personal ranking. I would rather have a Beretta over the MP144. But I'd have the MP144 over the rest of these weapons. That's just the MP9. MPX, going to argue that's arguably, I'm going to say that's a B tier. I'm going to put that in a solid B tier. Actually, I'd rather have an MPX over the Shrimp, over an AK-74U, over a DVL definitely. Just for the sheer amount of modifications, you can basically turn that into any weapon you really want to turn it into. But I wouldn't have it over an ADAR. That would be my starting point there. Now SKS, definitely B tier. Definitely have it over, definitely over an AK, over a DVL, over the MPX, over the ADAR. Yeah, that's where I'd have it. Middle of B tier, because I wouldn't want it over any of the other AKs. Actually, I think that's the 105, so definitely put that there. See, now this looks weird because the SKS is lower than the Mosins and the M700. But see, this block of 5 here is almost like that's the plateau of where weapons start becoming just a fraction of a bit better than other weapons, and that's it. There's no massive leaps now. There's just, well, that's just slightly better. That one's just slightly better than that. That AK is better than that SKS because it's fully automatic, and that's it. Right. Next one's P90. Definitely an A tier gun. The fire rate of the P90 is insane. But where would I put it? You know, I think I'd rather have a P90 over all of these guns in the back here. I feel right in putting the P90 just behind the AS File, MP9, and all the STS. I think that's a good spot. Right, now that's the Saiga 19. No, I think that's the Vityaz. I hope that's the Vityaz. We're going to consider this the Vityaz, and the Vityaz I would put... Honestly, I'd put the Vityaz just behind the MPX, because its base recoil is ridiculously low. If you're good with placing your shots, you can outstrip anyone using any of these guns below it. Yeah, I'm confident. I would rather spawn in as a Scav with an MP Vityaz. Yeah, spawn in with a Vityaz instead of an AK-74U or a DVL. I'm going to be honest. Alright, what we got next? Next is the RPK. I'm going to put this in A tier, but it definitely is the bottom of A tier. It's just, it's too clunky when you compare it to what it would, you know, the performance of a normal AK-74U. AK-74M. RSAS, arguably I want to put the RSAS below the M1A just because of how available the M1A is, but the RSAS is a much better weapon. I want to put it there, just above the M1A, because it's, whilst it is a fantastic weapon and is basically just a superior M1A in almost every, you know, every way it counts, it's also really expensive and really difficult to obtain. The price difference of these is the only thing that holds the RSAS from going up further. Right, Saiga. I'm going to put the Saiga above, that's where I put it, Saiga 12, 20 round mags, AP20s. You're going to do some damage with that. And I think that's a good place for it, just above, just below the PP19 kill, because they've got pretty much the same kill potential. If you go with leg meta from the PP9, and then you go for, you know, you go for armor pen with the Saiga, I think they're pretty much on par. The Saiga 9, D tier. Saiga 9's D tier. It's got to be. I think the Makarov drops down to D tier if that's D tier, because they're the same gun, that's just got a bigger ammo capacity. I'm going to leave that one there because it is silenced, and I think silenced weapons do perform better. I think this is the SR25, which is just, it's an ADAR, it's basically an ADAR, just basically a decked out ADAR, so I think that goes just behind these two as a B tier. I think it's severely punished by the fact that all it is a really tricked out ADAR, and it costs a lot of money. SV98, you know what, I'm putting the SV98 in bottom of B tier. Would I want it over an S? There we go. I'd run it over a Shrimp, but I wouldn't want it over an AK-74U. The SV98 is in a really bad place. It was one of the first developed snipers for this game. It's got trigger delay, it's misaligned, it's a really difficult weapon to use effectively. SVD, SVD I'm going to rank probably second of S tier. And some people might be concerned about that, but the way I'm looking at it is every single caliber in the game has almost has a fully automatic version, except the 7.62 by 54. Even the FAL, which fires fully automatic 7.62 by 51s, is destructive, but the Mosin rounds are just that much better. You know, you can two-tap people with an SVD almost instantly. So yeah, I feel confident the SVD is definitely S tier. It's my personal opinion that it is the second best behind the HK. What we got next? The TX500 Osiris. Again, it's really just a you know, tricked out M700. Haven't had much opportunity to use it. Now I've got the TX15. I'm going to put that above the SR25, not because I believe it outperforms the SR25, but because I think it's easier to get your hands on a TX15 than it is an SR25. I think the SR25 is chambered in 5.56, but if it's not, I'm just worried because that mag looks huge. If it's not, it does jump up past, probably to behind the M1A. Just keep that in mind. Right, then we've got the TOS. The TOS, I'm going to put it the top of D, because I think firmly a lot of people can, you know, use that gun quite well. And of course it's the meme gun, so it's, you know, it's the best gun. Right, we've got the Hunter, the Vepa Hunter. Where am I going to place you? I'm going to go bottom of A. The reason being is if my scav spawns with either a Mosin or a Hunter, I'd rather spawn with a Hunter, because the Hunter's semi-automatic. You want to drop it down to the top of B, simply because when you put a PSO scope on that, which is the most common scope, it looks horrible. And its mag sizes are really small, so we'll go with that. VPO 215, I actually like this gun. Like, I'm looking forward to the wipe for then when this becomes meta competitive. I think it's going to be good. What would I have it over? I'd have it over Glock, MP133, P90. I'd have it over the Saiga. I'd have it over... Would I have it over an Ash? I think I'd have it just there. I'd have it just behind an MP9 and have the VPO there, because its rounds aren't that bad. Now, I don't know why, but it feels like this gun is better than its AKM 209 variant, which is... This is a bolt action rifle, and that is a thing, like its AKM variant is a semi-automatic, and I don't know why, but I feel like this gun just performs better. Maybe it's because I use it on scavs mainly and it spawns in with a scope, I don't know, but it's going there for, I think it's a solid C gun. What we got? That's just the APB. VSS definitely up here. Now I'm putting it behind the AS file for one reason. AS file, you can fold the buttstock. Just makes it easier to get out of raids, makes it easier to, you know, move around and stash. It's a small point, but it is in its favour. Now we got the two new guns, the 1911 and the PPSH. Right. I would rather have a 1911 over all of these. Yeah, I'd rather have it over a Shrimp, because I think that's going to be absolutely... Even the rip rounds it's got at the moment are dirty. I'd rather have it over SV98, definitely. See, it feels really weird now, because I've got these C-tier weapons here, and I think those are definitely wrong now. So I'd rather have an MP5 than an M19, 1911. Yeah, I think that's a better place for the MP5. Now, the PPSH, I am going to place that above, but behind the MP5, simply because the 71 round mags are just lethal. I think that's it. Yep. That's it for this video. I hope you liked, and if it's helped you out, have a look at the description below. I'll have a lot of links to things that you can use, resources, the Wikipedia, ammo charts and things like that. If you've got any suggestions, or you've got any comments, or you think some of these are in the wrong place, you just tell me down below in the comments. But also, you know, it's a fantastic thing to make a video out of. I'll see if I can link this tier list so you can use that and just do your own video if you want to do that. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.